Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S4 and see how this particular phone holds up in 2024. Now, I would recommend every single person out there to not buy a Samsung Galaxy S4 anymore. These phones are significantly not worth it. There are so many better phones to go ahead and buy. And when you look at something like the Samsung Galaxy S24, this is one of those devices that hasn't been supported or hasn't been around for so many years. And because of that, it just doesn't make any sense to go and buy it. You can go ahead and buy a device that is better in almost every single area, like a Samsung Galaxy S21, S22. Yes, it costs more money, but if you're wanting a phone that's going to last you a longer period of time, it's going to be one of those phones and not quite the Samsung Galaxy, S4 in this particular perspective. Now, I'll also say I might misspeak and say S24 by accident because I say that all the time, but I really mean the Galaxy S4. Now, starting off with the outside of the Galaxy S4, the first thing you have to keep in mind is that this is a phone that for the most part still looks pretty decent. On the front, it has a 5-inch Super AMOLED display, it's 1080p, and I do kind of think in a lot of ways, this is a fairly good looking panel. It's not perfect, there's definitely issues with it, but I kind of do think that Samsung did a really decent job with this type of panel. You're getting a top bezel, bottom bezel home button as well. And I would say this was the best looking home button Samsung phone Samsung made, right? Maybe the Galaxy S7 was better than this thing, but on the front, I think it looked very, very nice. The panel itself was very nice. And once again, there really wasn't an insane amount of things to kind of complain about here with this type of phone. So I really do think from that particular perspective, this was a very, very good device. That's something I really liked a lot. Now, on top of that, you're basically getting a phone that's primarily built out of plastic. This thing had a micro USB port on the bottom, a headphone jack on this phone as well. On top of that, you're getting a plastic back on this phone, which again was very nice. I like having plastic backs. So it was a very, very nice thing going on here. And it was a removable back as well. At that time, a lot of phones are built out of plastic, so it wasn't really anything super crazy. But getting a phone like this that basically is giving you that plastic back, removable back, the battery that's removable, expandable storage as well, that is some really, really nice stuff to have inside of a device. And I do think from that particular perspective alone, it makes this phone hold up so much better because you're able to expand and replace that battery so easily. The phone after this was the last one to basically remove that battery, at that time. On top of that, that's kind of really it. There's a lot of things missing out on this phone though that you'd get on more common phones nowadays. Things like wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, a 90 or 120 Hz display, USB Type-C, like IP certification. There's so many things that are missing out on this phone's software updates. Like this phone was really good when it first came out, and I actually used this phone for a little bit, maybe for like a week or two on a custom ROM, but it's really not a phone I'd recommend buying anymore, even custom ROM. In terms of camera, this thing was giving you a single 13 megapixel standard camera on the backside and a 2 megapixel standard camera on the front. Now, I will tell you, as I mentioned before, in my personal opinion, getting devices with this type of chipset, with this type of camera, you're just getting a very, very outdated device in every single way you can imagine. And that is kind of the problem that you're kind of getting when you're getting devices like this, because it just doesn't hold up that well from the performance, from that side. The camera, 1080p on the front and the back, that's kind of it. It's not really anything crazy. It's a very outdated sensor, and it's a single camera at that. Almost every phone nowadays is giving you multiple camera setups. This thing is basically giving you just one. So once again, from that side, that's just one other thing to kind of keep in mind there as well. Now, on top of that, another big thing to keep in mind here too is the fact that with the Samsung Galaxy S4, it's done getting software updates, and it has been done getting software updates for years and years and years now. This thing has been, outdated for many years, and once again, that's kind of the problem that you're going to be getting when you're getting a device like this. Like, it's just a device that's pretty much done, and that's why I wouldn't recommend anyone to buy this phone anymore, because it's just a severely outdated device in almost every single area you can imagine. So from that side alone, again, that kind of covers it up there. Now, on top of that, another very big thing to keep in mind here too is with the chipset and the performance aspect. This phone is going to be giving you an Exynos 5410 octa chipset inside with 2 gigabytes of RAM. So you have to kind of remember once again that in the back of your head, this phone is going to be giving you a very low amount of RAM with a chipset that's very, very poor. And once again, it's just one of those things where I look at this type of device and I really just don't think that this type of phone, once again, is worth buying, especially from a performance aspect, because you can't really do that much with a phone like this. Like, it's just so slow. There's like no applications you can install on this thing because the software is so outdated. So once again, it's just one of those types of situations too. And I wouldn't really recommend buying this phone anymore from that particular perspective either. So all in all, what I can definitely tell you is there's really no reason why I would recommend anyone to go and buy this phone. It makes no sense at all. You are significantly better off buying a phone that is still supported with software, that still has power and still has capability ahead of it. And this phone is not giving you any future. It had a really good past, but it does not have a good future anymore, and that's kind of how I feel about it as of this point. So if you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.